Welcome to a brand new drama.
Have you seen a ghost of the past and wondered what is their ulterior motive? Well, Exhuma will definitely make you think in that terms. The story is a supernatural horror mystery which involves two shamans or exorcists, one feng shui master and a priest. They work as a team to dig up the ghosts of the past and ensure both the living and the dead stay in the world peacefully. The story starts off quite generic, like any other exorcist story where a mysterious event happens and the victim's family calls for a specialist to help them take away the evil spirit. But the beauty of the movie is, towards the end of the first half, you will get a feeling what more is left because everything seems to be over. Right then, they hit you with a surprise. And I think the second half is far more interesting than the first half because all the surprise elements are right there. Right after the story, I want to talk about how perfectly the casting had been done. Starting from the feng shui master, to the shamans, to the priest and even the supporting actors. For example, the shamans are shown as someone who are from the current generation, and that shows in their hair and makeup, the way they speak, the way they dress and way they think as well, more about money and shortcuts, less about the process. Go-Eun and Do-hyun have delivered out of expectation. At first when I realized they were going to play the role of shamans, I thought they were not casted correctly, but I was so wrong. Now if you have watched a lot of horror movies, you would have realized that most of the stories are based around dark atmosphere or dark environment because they have to show that creepiness, that eeriness in the movie. Now apart from the jump scares, one of the main things that makes a horror movie shine is the expression of the actors. Since usually in these movies the dialogue scripts are not much, so the actors have to show a lot with their body movement, their eye movement, how they show shock, anger and sorrow. And the main cast has just nailed that. Are the cast and the story the main reason why Exhuma is such a big hit in the box office? You may ask, shouldn't visuals and jump scares be one of the main reasons why a horror movie is successful? Well, it's not the case for this one. And South Korea is known for being unique in telling horror stories. Apart from falling in the widely known supernatural category, its subgenre is occult mystery. So what made the story more interesting was how smoothly the story was binded together by traditional folklore, mythical urban legends and the historic significance of the Korean War. The storytelling was addictive and you as a viewer would be hooked to the screen trying to figure out what would be happening next. The content plays hide and seek with your brain. They don't give away too much information so that you have a food for thought or you keep on thinking, okay, what's going to happen next? But they also ensure that there is clue in every scene so that you go back to them, you keep on thinking and try to join the dots. As I've mentioned earlier, for a horror movie, the jump scares and sound effects are very crucial. Exhuma does deliver well on these two elements, but not in the typical traditional way. More than the visuals being appealing, the sound effect creates more impact. Because the atmosphere is mostly dark, so they did not need to put so much nitty-gritty details into all the scenes. Even for the jump scare parts, they mostly played around with the sound, like whispering, shouting, banging on the door, or making voice modulations when one is possessed. Throughout the movie, I had more expectation from the story as how they will stitch it together rather than the jump scare and the horror elements. Now we discussed everything about the movie except for one point, the emotional connect with the audience. Along with showing the process of casting away the evil spirits, they also show the normal life of the shaman, the priest and the feng shui master. How they also have fear in them and worry for their family, how they push themselves to show courage in front of others, how they also need time to cope up with these dark incidents, and how they also can lead a very perfectly normal life. Considering all the aspects that we discussed about the movie, I would give it a 9 out of 10. And it's a recommendation to watch.